Hello guys, it's WazzaTZK, and today I'm going to be ranking every Black Ops 4 Zombies map from worst to best. Please do keep in mind this is my own personal opinion. If you disagree with it or want to critique it, then so be it. But please do keep in mind this is my own personal opinion. Just because I put a map last or put a map where you don't like it, doesn't mean you have to write me a whole hate comment of why I should kill myself. Please be mindful and respectful in the comments is all I ask. Oh, and also the footage might not be the best because I am recording this on my Xbox One because I don't have Black Ops 4 for the PC. So the footage might be a bit grainy in some parts, I do apologise about that, there's nothing I can really do. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So coming in at number 8, last but not least, is Blood of the Dead. And you see, I really want to like this map, I really do, but you see, it had such big potential, Blood of the Dead. Like, it was a remaster, I wouldn't even say a remaster, it's more of a reimagined of Mob of the Dead. It had the potential to be better than Mob of the Dead or somewhat level to it. However, the overall execution of the map, it was just a big failure. And I don't think this map was fully thought through, really. Blood of the Dead, it takes away everything what makes Mob of the Dead iconic and just flipped it on its head. You've got no afterlife mode, you can't even build a plane to fly to the Golden Gate Bridge. I mean, you can't even get to the Golden Gate Bridge anymore. And this just makes the map lack any interesting locations because it just doesn't add anything new. In my opinion, it's just the same as every other map. And that's what made Mob of the Dead iconic. It did something new, whereas this map, it just didn't do anything interesting, really. And overall, the map, it just feels like a watered down Mob of the Dead. It feels like just put it into a blender and just gave us like the bitter bits of it. However, there is some good things I can say about Blood of the Dead, and they at least brought back some old map concepts such as the dog heads, the blundergats. They even added some new areas to the map such as the catwalk. Also, the Warden Easter egg boss fight is quite interesting. I would definitely say it's more interesting than Mob of the Dead, where you just shoot your friends and break the cycle. Blood of the Dead, it did have the potential, but I think the developers just cut corners with the map. It could have been so much more if they didn't rush it or cut corners. And sadly, I do have to give this number 8 because I don't really enjoy the map very much. Alright, so coming in at the number 7 spot is Dead of the Night. And I know some people really like this map, but for me personally, it's just not my cup of tea. There's too many parts in the map, too many spawn locations. It's literally like one big memory game. You have to run around the whole map trying to remember codes, remember where parts are. There's just too many of them. And the one thing that makes me question this map is that Dead of the Night, it didn't have any marketing whatsoever. They literally just threw this map out in the open without any trailers or any notice beforehand, which isn't normal for Treyarch. They normally have some full-on trailer, but I think they may have been under pressure or in a rush maybe. But either way, it did take a big effect on the map because not many people noticed it until a few days later. Also, another thing which I don't like about the map is it's not very noob friendly, and if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna find yourself stuck, a lot, because you won't be able to progress, you won't be able to open Pack-a-Punch. Also, the characters are a bit boring in my opinion, they're not bad, but they just don't have that interesting of a story. However, Dead of the Night does have some really good features, such as a unique, interesting atmosphere it has. You're in a big mansion in the middle of England, and you've attended a party which has been overtaken by zombies. And I don't know why, but this map sort of reminds me of The Inspector Calls. If you ever read that, you probably know that from English, but Also, the map has a unique and interesting wonder weapon, the Alistair's Folly, which is kind of difficult to get because you do have to remember like a bunch of codes, but you can also get it out of the box, and it is actually quite a strong and unique weapon. It's just that there is a bit of a fetch quest, just like any other map. But yeah, going back to the atmosphere, the map has a very creepy and horror atmosphere to it, so anyone who's a fan of horror films or like horror games, I think they'll enjoy this map. I personally enjoy the atmosphere. However, Dead of the Night, it's just a bit too much of a fetch quest in my opinion. And as much as I want to like this map, it just doesn't really pique my interest. So coming in at number 6, we have Voyage of Despair. And I know quite a few people do like this map as well, just as much as they like Dead of the Night, but for me personally, I have a few bad features about this. Like, don't get me wrong, the map is very unique. It's literally set on the Titanic. Like, if that's not an awesome zombie setting, then I don't know what is. The wonder weapon is also unique and interesting. It's like carrying a giant cannon and you fire like cannonballs kind of thing. And also another thing I like about Voyage of Despair is it sticks to the original COD Zombies formula. You have to find 4 areas, turn on a switch, and you get the Pack-a-Punch machine. Like, it's just that simple. And this is what I really like about Voyage of Despair. It's simple, straightforward. You just gotta do a very little quest just to get the Pack-a-Punch machine open. It's quite easy once you know what you're doing. And also, it's the first map to feature a new crew, the Chaos crew, which we do see all the way to the end of Black Ops 4's life cycle. But to be fair, they didn't really give much of a story to the Chaos crew in my opinion. I feel like they kind of cut short on quite a few things. However, one issue with Voyage of Despair is the lack of training space. I find it very difficult to train zombies in Voyage of Despair. You do have to kind of be lucky at times because there's not really very much space to move around. It sort of feels like Shangri-La in Black Ops 1 Zombies, where you have to like sort of be lucky to actually get around. And not to mention you've also got mini bosses and specialist zombies like fire zombies, electric zombies, which make the map absolute hell. And that combined with the lack of training space just makes this map a bit of a tough time, so to speak. But overall, Voyage of Despair, it isn't a bad map. However, the lack of training space and the annoying mini-bosses, I probably would pass on this, but I would still play it from time to time. Coming in at the number 5 spot, we have Classified. And I actually quite like Classified because they expanded and improved on its original counterpart, 5, which, in case you haven't watched my Black Ops 1 video, I'd mentioned that 5 had some big issues in terms of space, in terms of difficulty, whereas with Classified they at least expanded and improved on this. Classified added more areas than 5, like they've sort of expanded the map, which does make it slightly easier. There's even new buildables on the map, which takes you to the Area 51 on Moon, where you can pack a punch, which is pretty cool. I quite like how those two areas are linked. However, Classified does suffer from quite a few issues in my opinion. There is no Pentagon Thief, meaning there is a lack of a challenge on the map. It doesn't really feel like 5 anymore because there's no Pentagon Thief. Also, another issue I have is the Winter's Howl. They sort of buffed it, sort of haven't. Like, it's still okay, but it still kind of sucks like its original counterpart. Also, another issue I have with Classified is the Easter egg. I find it a bit ridiculous. You have to get to round 150 for it to activate. I mean, I would have preferred more of like a fetch quest, but getting to 150, it's a bit impossible for some people. Most people won't be able to get to that. I know I probably wouldn't on Black Ops 4. Classified, it just lacks anything interesting, really. Like, there's no celebrity crew like the original 5, no Pentagon Thief to give you a challenge. It's basically just a watered down 5, to be honest. There's not really anything interesting. However, you gotta give Classified credit where it's due. They have improved on some features, such as making the map bigger, which improves training zombies and stuff. So, although it's not like its original, it does at least improve somewhat on some things. So coming in at number 4 is Alpha Omega, and again, like Classified, Alpha Omega improves on its counterpart, Nuketown Zombies, from Black Ops 2. They increase the size of the map, and even the random perk generation has been removed, which means you won't get random perks falling from the sky. And although that was iconic in Black Ops 2 Nuketown Zombies, and basically gave the map its identity, I still much prefer this kind of feature, because you don't have to rely on Juggernaut being first or last. And it's just such a big improvement on Nuketown Zombies in my opinion. Also, they brought back some old familiar weapons, such as the Ray Gun Mark II, which you can even upgrade to 4 elemental counterparts. And they even brought back some old mini-bosses, such as Avogadro. In case you don't know, it's from Transit. So it's nice to see Avogadro make a return after many years. However, Alpha Omega, it does suffer from a few issues. And one big issue I have is that it has real lack of training space. And this is what makes Alpha Omega worse than Nuketown Zombies in my opinion. Because Nuketown Zombies, you at least had some space to move around. Whereas in Alpha Omega, I feel like there's not very much space to move. You feel like you're going to get caught on everything, you're going to get surrounded easily. And this is why I would prefer Nuketown Zombies, in my opinion, because yes, the perks are randomised, and yes, it is annoying, but at least you have space to move, unlike Alpha Omega. Also, the Pack-a-Punch steps are a massive pain in the arse. You literally have to stand there and turn a wheel. That's also getting hit by zombies. And it's just not fun. I think they could have done this step a little bit better, which again, I would much prefer Nuketown Zombies from Black Ops 2, because the Pack-a-Punch machine falls out the sky, so you don't have to do anything like spin a stupid wheel. So, at least that's something. Oh, and also not to mention the electric and gas denizens are a little bit annoying as well. Instead of the electric zombies from Chaos Story, they decided to go with like these denizens, which fire like electricity or something. And they are a cool concept, but they can also be a little bit annoying as well. And overall, there's just nothing interesting about Alpha Omega. Like, once you get past the Pack-a-Punch steps, you've got all your weapons, there's nothing really too interesting about it. All you do in Alpha Omega is you just Pack-a-Punch, get your perks, get your guns, and that's basically it. It's just like Nuketown Zombies in Black Ops 2. And so just like Classified, Alpha Omega, it does lack anything really interesting in my opinion. So coming in at number 3, we have Tag the Toten. I'm just going to say it now, Tag the Toten, it suffers from the exact same issues as Alpha Omega and Classified. It's very lackluster, it doesn't really have anything interesting, and the map is just a watered down Call of the Dead, in my opinion. There's no George on the map, meaning there's literally no challenge to it, and it really does take away the identity that Call of the Dead had, because Call of the Dead is known for its winter theme. It's known for George, it's known for the 2 wonder weapons, whereas Tag the Toten, it just feels like a cheap knockoff of Call of the Dead. And to be fair, in terms of wonder weapons, I would much more prefer the old Call of the Dead wonder weapons, because although the scavenger, it wasn't as strong as the other weapons, I would still prefer using it on high rounds. It's better than using the crappy Tundra gun, if you can even call that a wonder weapon, to be honest. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Thunder Gun concept was pretty cool. I quite like how it fires snow at zombies, that's pretty cool, but it just didn't do that much damage, it just felt a bit underwhelming. Even the remodeled Wonderwaff, it just felt a bit lackluster. Although the design of it did look pretty cool, it just didn't function that well. However, some good things which I can pick out about Tag the Toten is it actually expanded and improved on its original counterpart, and I feel like this is a running theme throughout the Aether maps for Black Ops 4. They sort of remastered and expanded on the original maps, which isn't bad and all, but I mean, the areas, they aren't very interesting, and the some of the areas you only go there once or twice and then you never go back to, so. Also, the concept of the golden pack-a-punch is pretty cool. In case you don't know, in Tag the Toten you can get a golden pack-a-punch, which basically pack-a-punches all of your guns for only 5,000. Also, another thing I like is they brought back the old Black Ops 2 crew, the Victus crew, which we haven't seen since Buried, I think. However, again, as much as I'd like this map, it does suffer from quite a few issues, and I think this is a big running theme throughout the map. The aether maps in Black Ops 4, they've sort of been washed down and like half-arsed, really. There's been so many corners cut with the aether maps in Black Ops 4 Zombies, it just feels underwhelming to play. Alright, so now we are moving on to the interesting maps, and coming in at number 2 we have Ancient Evil. And there's very little things I can actually say wrong about Ancient Evil. It's got a unique location and setting. It's set in ancient Greece in the Chaos story. We haven't really seen a Greek map before, so that's interesting. Also, Ancient Evil has 4 elemental wonder weapons, which means all 4 people can use it, not just one player. Another thing I like about Ancient Evil is how you use Pegasus to move around the map. It really does add a unique playstyle to the map, because rather than just running around the map, you at least fly on like some unicorn kind of thing. Whereas with the other Chaos maps, I feel like it was a bit boring to run around all the time, whereas Ancient Evil has at least fixed this issue. Also, opening the pack-a-punch machine on the map is quite fun and interesting. It requires you to use your special weapon as well, so it doesn't make the specialist weapon feel completely useless, if you know what I mean. It at least has some use within the map. Also, another thing I like as well about Ancient Evil is the mini-bosses. They're quite unique. The mini-bosses in Ancient Evil, they relate more to the map as it's set in Greece. However, like any Zombies map, I do have to give it some bad things. And one thing that Ancient Evil has, which is a bit of a problem for me, is the lack of training space. I feel like you get stuck on everything quite quickly. There's not really much space to train. And also the map can get very chaotic very fast because there's multiple specialist zombies such as the fire, the electric zombies. Overall, Ancient Evil is one of the best Black Ops 4 Zombies maps we've seen. It's a bit of a shame that it came out near the end of the Black Ops 4 Zombies cycle, because if it was released earlier, then I feel like Black Ops 4 would have a better reputation. But then again, I feel like Treyarch did cut a few corners when they got to Black Ops 4. Coming in at number 1, we have 9. Where do I start with this map? Honestly, there's just so many good things I can say about 9. The map atmosphere, it's unique, it's interesting. You fight zombies in a gladiator arena, not to mention you've also got a live crowd cheering you on. They can even give you gifts if you perform well enough. The map is simple and easy to understand for both new and experienced players. There's plenty of space to train and maneuver zombies. And also another thing I like about 9 is that each part of the map relates to a certain perk. It makes the perks feel like they have more purpose. Because if you notice carefully, the perks actually have a name, such as Ra and Zeus. And this is what I really like about 9, because they at least use this concept and even dedicated areas to its own perk. Whereas with the other Chaos stories, again, they just felt like they just randomly threw them everywhere and then just thought, oh yeah, that'll do. Another thing I like about 9 is that it uses the old Call of Duty Zombies formula to open the pack-a-punch. All you gotta do is get 4 heads and put them on a stick, and then you've basically got the pack-a-punch machine. This is what I mean by the map is easy to understand. You don't really need to go through a whole fetch quest to get the pack-a-punch machine open, like Dead of the Night. Another thing I like about 9 is the unique wonder weapon. They've literally took a scorpion and just made it fire electricity, which is pretty cool. Although it's not as strong as the wonder weapon, it does take a little while to kill the zombies. Overall, it isn't a bad weapon. However, with every zombies map, I do have to give it some negative criticism. One thing I would say is bad about 9 is the specialist zombies are a pain in the ass. You've got fire, electric zombies, which make the map even more hell. Not to mention the zombie mini-bosses, which can be annoying. Not to mention the fire traps in the arena can make it more annoying because you do have to stay to one side of the area. You can't really jump through the fire or else you take a lot of damage. So apart from that, 9 overall is honestly the best Black Ops 4 Zombies map I've ever played. I could honestly dedicate a whole video to just how good 9 is, because out of all of the terrible and watered down maps we've had throughout Black Ops 4, 9 is the one which really sticks out to me, because it's one of those unique zombies experiences which you just don't see every day. Okay, so that wraps up the video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Just like I said before at the start of the video, this is my own personal opinion. If you didn't like it or if you want to critique it, I don't mind. Please go ahead in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinions. But this is where I'm going to end the video here. It's been a long video already. If you want to watch my other Zombies Maps from Worst to Best videos, then I will leave them linked on the channel, which you can go watch if you want to. But this is it for me, and I will see you next time.